It's the Daily Doug.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Doug. Thanks for being with me today. My friends, today is a Wednesday and I am making today a Woman Wednesday. We are going to be featuring music from Suzanne Vega for the very first time on the channel, and I am eager to dive into this song. We're going to be hearing Luca today, and I'm happy that you are here. This suggestion comes to us from our friend Ray. Thank you, Ray. And Suzanne Vega, she burst onto the scene with her self-titled album back in 1985, and that album surpassed the expectations of, I think, herself and her recording company, because the album reached platinum status right out of the gate, and she followed that up with her song Left of Center, which was included on the 1986 film Pretty in Pink, and I've seen that one, and I think I remember that song, and that song also did well on the charts. So her second album, Solitude Standing, was released in 1987, and with this album she reached the pinnacle of what is now a 40-year career. This album included the hit songs Tom's Diner and Luca, and Luca remains her highest charting hit, peaking in the top 10 all around the world. And as I read in about it, I think there's a real reason why this song resonates with just about anybody who hears it. The subject matter is quite serious, friends. She's talking about child abuse in this song. And about the song, back in a 1987 interview, she said, "A few years ago, I used to see this group of children playing in front of my building, and there was one of them whose name was Luca, who seemed a little bit distinctive from the other children. I always remembered his name, and I always remembered his face, and I didn't know much about him, but he just seemed set apart from these other children that I would see playing, and his character is what I based the song Luca on." And in the song, the boy Luca is an abused child, and he's speaking in first person. Really interesting. And she says, in real life, I don't think he was an abused child. I just think he was different. Okay? And then in later interviews, Suzanne reveals that she had wanted to write a song about this issue, and she had to figure out a way how to write such a song about a subject that's very difficult to even speak about, right? Controversial, difficult topic. And she revealed that she was telling her own story in this song, her own story of child abuse at the hands of her stepfather, through the persona of Luca. So it takes on a much more personal aspect when you understand that. I think I've heard the song through the years, but I don't know, I didn't know what it was about, and I don't really remember anything about what it sounds like. So I'm really eager to get into this song with all of you here today. We've got Suzanne Vega on vocals and acoustic guitar. Mark Schulman is on guitar. John Gordon plays a guitar solo. Anton Sanko is on synths. Michael Vicheglia is on bass. Stephen Ferreira is on the drums. And Sean Colvin provides some backing vocals for this song. I'm going to be looking at the official video for this one, so let's get to it, y'all. Here is Luca from Suzanne Vega. Off we go. So we're in the city. I think it's New York. F-sharp.
My name is Luca. I live on the second floor. I live upstairs from you. Yes, I think you've seen me before. If you hear something late at night,
Just don't ask me what it was.
Just don't
Please don't
ask
ask me
what
what you heard.
Just don't ask me what it was. I think it's 'cause I'm
Simple
clumsy.
progression.
I try not to talk too loud.
We're in
Maybe
F sharp,
it's because I'm
goes to the 5,
crazy.
suspended, I think, and then
I
4,
try not to act too proud.
5,
Only
6,
hit till you cry. After that, you don't ask why. You just don't argue anymore. Just don't argue anymore. Just don't argue anymore.
nice guitar. Yeah, New York for sure, right?
Yes, I think I'm okay. Walked into the door again. If you ask, that's what I'll say.
If you ask, that's what I'll say. I just walked into the door again, making excuses.
I guess I'd like to be alone. Nothing broken, nothing wrong. Just don't ask me how I am. Just don't ask
Sounds
me
wonderful. It's a great
how I
sounding
am.
record.
Just don't ask me how I am.
Just don't ask me how I am.
My name is Luca. I live on the second floor. I live upstairs from you. Yes, I think you've seen me before.
The F sharp is
You hear something late at night.
that
Some kind of
is
trouble,
playing.
some kind of fight.
Yeah, because
Just don't ask
I hear the
me
5 chord is
what it
suspended,
was.
so that
Just don't
tonic note
ask
never
me
leaves.
what it was.
It's like a longing for a real stable home bass, right?
They only hit till you cry. After that, you don't ask why. You just don't argue anymore.
They only hit you until you
Just
cry.
don't argue
And after that, you do not ask why. You just don't argue.
Just don't argue anymore.
It's a courageous tune, y'all. And it's going to end. You know, I think it could keep right on going and have more to say, but that's where she ends it. And, you know, she's said quite a bit in this. The really fascinating approach here is that she's using first person. It's Luca himself telling this story, and we believe him. We believe her. You know, my name's Luca. I live on the second floor. I'm upstairs from you. You've seen me around. If you hear something late at night, if you hear some trouble, just don't ask. Please, don't ask. You know, I think it's because I'm clumsy. I try not to talk too loud. Maybe it's because I'm crazy. I try not to act too proud. They only hit you until you cry. And that you don't ask why, you just don't argue anymore. It's a lovely lyric, and it hits right through, you know, all of the layering and the protections that we put over ourselves so that we're not, you know, exposed to this kind of evil and this kind of suffering that doesn't need to happen. You know, it doesn't need to happen. And it stays with people. It stays with people for a long, long time. I mean, when she was talking about noticing these kids that were playing outside of her building, probably in New York, and she notices one kid who's less social, less active, a little more introspective than the others, and her mind starts going, I don't think that he's abused, but boy, I understand that you know, that sort of behavior, because that's how I felt. And she's she's noticing that, and she's seeing a little bit of herself in that disconnectedness as a kid. And, it's obvious that it still weighs on her. And she figured out a really creative and effective way to tell her story, in a sense, right? I'm really impressed with that. And, it's a sad tune, right? And it's just a basic pop song in a major key, using basic chords. So it's not something that the music is there, I think, as a simple palette to help her spin her yarn. And it's a style and it's a technique that a bunch of singer-songwriters make use of. They might not be as daring in their harmonic vocabulary, but boy, their lyrics and their way of delivering that lyric definitely tell the story and definitely speak to us, don't they? So as I was reading about Suzanne, I read that she has a new album that is about to be released. It's called Flying with Angels, and it's going to be the first album of all new material since she did a 2014 album called Tales from the Realm of the Queen of Pentacles. And it seems like she is still interested in telling human stories and speaking about human issues in this album. She says that this album's lyrical content in each of its songs is on topics of struggle, human struggle, how we struggle to survive, to speak our truth, to dominate when we need to win, to escape when we need to help somebody else, or to just live and breathe and make it from day to day. And I'm really thankful to Ray for bringing her music to me and to the channel, because I am curious and interested to hear more from her. I really like her vibe, and I definitely respect what she has to say and the way that she has said it. So, friends, a heavy topic today, but a gorgeous and beautiful song on that topic. And I'm pleased to lift up Luca by Suzanne Vega on today's Woman Wednesday episode. I thank you all for being with me on today's episode, and we will see you next time on another edition of The Daily Doug.